Sorry, I was muted. Hi, everybody. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to our quarterly product webinar. If you've never been to one of these before, we do these every single quarter. We just kind of go through what we got done in the previous quarter and then what we're kind of working on in the future, just to let our customers, prospects, and anybody else who's interested in on our roadmap. And we use this as an opportunity to take your feedback and answer any questions you might have as well. So, I am Ryan Bickham. I'm your host. I am the head of product and engineering here at Sift. And during the call today, please feel free to enter any questions that you might have inside of the chat or the Q&A section. We have some people from our team monitoring that area, and I'll also do the best I can on keeping an eye on that as well. We're also going to be asking a few poll questions throughout the presentation to kind of get your direct feedback on a couple of questions that we have for you. And you will be sent a recording of this presentation within the next 36 hours or so you can watch it again or hand it off to anybody else at your company who might want to see it. Great. So today we're going to walk through, as always, what we've kind of released in the last few months and then what we're going to be working on next and give you a little bit of a sneak peek of that. Great. So last quarter, there were a few things that we worked on that we wanted to present here today. One of the things that we did, which is a little bit more of a minor change that you may have noticed, is we made some kind of significant UI updates to our application. So we kind of did some things in terms of like changing the style of our buttons and things like that, bringing them from like an uppercase casing to a lowercase casing, and just cleaned up a lot of different visual styles within our application. So for example, we also updated the profile page to update this toggle switch between view and edit mode. So just a design update for some changes to make the experience look cleaner and better. We also continued our journey into our partnership. So we did officially finalize our partnership with Workday, and we're actively looking to build a direct integration into there. So if there's somebody that you use, keep an eye out in the coming months for announcements on direct integrations into that system. So we're looking to develop deeper things in terms of retrieving skills or getting more up-to-date data from that system. So if you're a Workday customer, keep an eye on it or send me any questions if you have them. We've also partnered with a couple of different identity and access management systems. So Ping Identity and Okta, we got on both of their marketplaces, and we're also working on developing deeper integrations with those folks as well. Biggest thing we released, which I know some of you may already be using, is this people list by date widget. So we've been talking a lot about in the last year or so, just continuing to develop this homepage where you can add dynamic widget content to your homepage experience. And this people list by date widget is the one that we recently released this last quarter. So this will allow you to create sections on this homepage that highlight just date-based milestones. So that could be a work anniversary, a birthday, new hires, or anything like that. And I'm going to actually do a quick walkthrough of this right now for you and just give you a little bit of a look at what that looks like. So here's our demo environment. So as you can see on this homepage experience, we now have this section for work anniversaries and new hires. If I look over at this work anniversary section, you'll see when I hover over each individual card, I'll see the tenure that they have at the company. So this person has been here for 25 years, and this will sort of be in descending order. So the people who have been here the longest will be up the highest. I can also expand this view and show the entire list in that section, even if it was truncated at the beginning. The other thing that we can do here is we can set how frequently this updates. So in this specific example, we have this widget updating weekly, but if you are a smaller company, you might want to have this updated monthly, or if you're a bigger company, you might want to have it updated daily. So it can kind of feature people in a flexible way on this home screen based on how frequently you would see updates. And then additionally, if you ever want to go and see like all of these people, so if there's like hundreds and hundreds of them somehow, or if you want to view these people in our directory experience, you can click this button and it'll take you over to the directory list view for all of these people who have an anniversary, and then you can continue to filter them as normal. These widgets can also be set up with any sort of specific date attribute. So how these actually work behind the scenes is that this works off of kind of the hire date attribute on a person's profile. So we see here on this profile, she started on May 4th, 2000. And based on that attribute, we're creating this widget. So we're just looking for, hey, like who this week has an anniversary date on this week. So if you have any specific custom date attribute or anything under the sun, you can kind of work to create a widget that's dynamic for that attribute as well. So birthdays is a good example that some people have also set up where they have a birthday attribute and then they can set up a widget to feature today's birthdays or this week's birthdays or this month's birthdays as well. And as with the rest of this experience, you can kind of configure this over in this admin dashboard homepage area. We have at Sift added a few of these to be pre-built for you. So if you go to your admin dashboard and look at this widget list, you'll already see a new hires and work anniversaries widget populated. And you can just start kind of using those right out of the box since that kind of hire date attribute already exists. However, you can also go and create a new widget that's a person list by date. And you can sort of give different attributes that you would have, for example, and kind of do some different configurations. So for example, you could say like, do you want to show the year on the widget? And should they be featured every year or only the exact time that they happen? So for example, a new hire would only be featured like right when they start, not every year on their hire date, where like a work anniversary would be featured every year and not on their first year. So you can kind of configure different settings like that. So that's just a short walkthrough of that. But if you have any additional questions on that, you can always reach out to us, or we are going to be doing a full walkthrough of our homepage experience with our head of customer success, Tim Kamen, which some of you may have met before. So he's going to be diving into this kind of entire feature and give a full walkthrough of this. We did release this homepage feature initially last year, quite a while back, and we've never really done a full deep dive run through of that. So if you need help setting this up or you'd like to learn a little bit more about how it all works behind the scenes and what's coming next, please feel free to attend this as well. And I believe Aaron just posted a link in the chat for the registration to that event. Great. So what are we working on next? First thing that we're working on this quarter that should be released in the next month and a half or so is increased customization of the org chart card. So we've heard from a lot of customers and prospects alike that they would like more flexibility to be able to kind of display any attribute on these org chart cards and not just kind of the more static options that you have today. As you know, today these are a little bit more static where we'll always display a name, we'll always display a job title. This sort of organization levels thing in the middle is like a little bit dynamic, but not completely. So we're going to be working towards giving you the flexibility to add sort of any attribute that fits into sort of a predetermined set of rules. So things that are longer, like long text or skills or things like that might not be as possible, but anything that's like a short text-based attribute or number or Boolean or anything along those lines, we'll have a spot for that to be displayed on the org chart card, and your individual end users will be able to choose which things they want to see. So we don't want to create an experience where the card gets kind of unbelievably tall and it's like just a huge big mess, but we will give you kind of a couple of slots on that org chart card to let you slot in whatever attributes that you want to be looking at the time. So this will help you better generate sort of print views that are relevant to what you want to export or give people different flexibility in what they want to see on those cards. Yeah, and we have kind of our first poll question here. Today, we're just going to utilize the chat and for most of our questions, but for one, we will have that sort of Microsoft Teams polling functionality. But the first thing we have for you here is there any piece of information that you would like to add to your org chart card that you cannot in Sift currently today? We're just looking for ideas from people to make sure that we're building the feature in a way that'll work for everybody. So if you have any of those, please put them in the chat. All right, nothing. Okay, we'll keep going then. Next thing that we're doing, this is a little bit more of a technical one, but we are removing the email address requirement from our data import. So currently within Sift, every person who you import into the system needs an email address value defined. And the original intent behind that was that we want every single employee at your company to use Sift. So like in our original sort of vision for the product, everyone in the system who has a profile would also be a user. So like requiring an email address because email address is our login identifier made sense. However, we have seen a lot of different use cases more recently where companies will want to sort of import people to be displayed on their org chart or directory, but they won't want them to have access, or they don't think it's necessary for them to have access, or their data that they're importing just doesn't have email address and they would still like to be able to add people to the system. So we are working to remove this requirement from the data sync. So like if you do have people in your system that you want to add into Sift who do not have an email address, or you don't want to import email addresses to us at all, you'll be able to do so. For our existing customers, we will have sort of a legacy setting available on the admin dashboard just so the sync still behaves the way that it currently does. Like we're not asking our customers to do any kind of testing. Because for example, like today, when you like map your email address and if somebody doesn't have an email address value, like Sift will just ignore them. And we're going to have sort of a legacy setting to keep that behavior. But going forward, if you turn that setting off or if you create a new directory, the system will just allow people in who do not have an email address and allow profiles to be created for them. Next thing we're doing is multiple themes. So we're adding the ability for organizations to define sort of more than one color scheme for the platform if they would like to. So as all of you probably know, you can customize the colors and logo of the Sift platform. So like for your users, when they go into the system, they will see a different color other than purple or a different logo in the top left corner of the product. And we're going to add a feature in where you can sort of define more than one and then the user can choose one. This mainly comes from some of our customers wanting sort of a dark theme and a light theme. Like that's one piece of feedback we got, especially from those customers who have kind of like a white based theme. Like we've heard from a lot of users that they might want like a darker based theme. So we're kind of giving you the ability to define multiple themes. Or we've also seen like some companies have like multiple companies under their umbrella. So like they might want different people to be able to pick from different brandings and things like that. So essentially here you'll be able to choose a default theme, but also define secondary themes that your users can choose from. We're also working, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but we're working on a direct Workday integration. So this is another thing that we're looking to be available over the next couple of months or so. Yeah, and last but not least, this one is a little bit down the road, but something that we're really excited for is sort of finer grained roles and permissions for viewing profile data in Sift. So for version 1 of this, the essential functionality is going to be you will basically we're the use case here is really there have been some customers who have expressed the interest in importing more private profile data into our system that only some people can view. So historically inside of our platform, all of the data on all of the profile pages has been viewable by anybody who logs into the system. So obviously you can choose to omit that private data when you're mapping into Sift data that you don't want to display. But once the data is on the profile page, all of the permissions are kind of equal and everybody can look at all of the data. So the largest sort of use case we're going to be supporting with this first roles and permissions release is the ability to import sort of restricted profile attributes into your profile page and control the permissions around them. And we're going to also have like kind of a very flexible way of doing that. So inside of each of these roles that you create, you'll kind of be able to define like who is a member of the role, and you can kind of use a filter to do so. So if you wanted to say, hey, like the members of this role are people where the department equals technology, and like I want to give them access to view restricted attributes for this other department over here, we'll kind of have that fine grained access. As part of this project, we're also looking to create some like default rules for things like this, such as like a manager can see private attributes for all of the people below them and things like that. But all of that is something that you'll be able to customize as well. And in addition to that, sort of the private versus public profile attributes thing, will also give you the functionality to be able to hide profiles completely if you would like to certain subsets of your population. So say that you have a like United States like division of your company and a European division of your company, and for whatever reason you only want the people in Europe to be able to see the people in Europe and the people in the US to see the people in the US. We're also going to be giving you those permissions to be able to control those different use cases, for example. So yeah, hopefully that's an exciting thing for you. I know we've heard it a lot in the past, so we're going to be looking to bring that to you over the next few months as well. Yeah, and here we have another poll question for you, which is on a scale of 1 to 5, how much would your organization benefit from an additional permissions functionality in Sift? And I think this one should be popping up as a Microsoft Teams like multiple choice poll question. There it goes. I just saw your questions as well, Ryan. I can answer those in just a second after this is done. Right. Thank you all so much for answering. I guess I'll answer them. All right. Thank you all. I see we got a few responses. I can't figure out how to look at the answers, but I'll look at them later. So thank you so much. Yeah. So Ryan, to answer your question. So the first thing Ryan asks is with roles and permissions, will certain users have the ability to create a page? Yes, that also might be possible today, based on what you're trying to do. So we do have the capability to allow pages to be kind of created by end users on the profile if you want. But yeah, by default, it's kind of only admins that create it. But I think so. I might follow up with you on that one, like via email or something. Yeah, your second one, do you have the ability to create manual org charts based off of the dynamic one, meaning if I'm looking to do an organizational redesign? In our platform, we do not. However, we do actually have an integration with Lucidchart that exists where you can kind of use Sift's org chart as the source of truth and you can export it out into Lucid and then you can edit it. But no, not within our system. We're kind of meant to be sort of the current state of the state. All right. Thank you. Great. Yeah. So I had one more question for all of you, which is not related to the permissions thing, but if you could make any change or improvement to Sift, if there's any new feature you would want to see, please let us know in the chat. Like this is kind of a general question I like to ask during these webinars, just to get a feeling of what you don't see today that you would like to see in the platform. Um, and I can kind of move on, but I'll just let people respond to this in the chat if they have anything that they would like to see. All right. Great. So yeah, that's kind of all I had for today. I like to keep these short and sweet just to give you a quick update on what's going on at Sift. As always, if you want to get involved with our product roadmap or you have any additional feedback after this meeting, please feel free to reach out to myself directly. So my email is ryan@justsift.com, our support team directly at support@justsift.com. We also have a sort of a more official product feedback board that you can go to at feedback.justsift.com, as you see here. So you can kind of submit feature ideas, or you can follow us on social media on LinkedIn to get updates. Exporting bios and pics to PowerPoint, export selection for reports. Mary, on the support question, I can actually type to you in the chat and you could respond to me. So like on the reports